do just in terms of the process and a reminder about the process that we've engaged in. And for now, for just over 2 years, 3 months, I started July 1st of 2009. Actually, the part of the interview process was actually here in this auditorium. And the conversation at that time was about the $40 million structural deficit, about the mismanagement of the organization. Would I be willing to make recommendations? Would I be willing to take the direction of the board to return both fiscal solvency but also an academic focus to the organization? And beginning July 1, actually after the return and the MOU was signed to get local control again, this board consistently asked for both recommendations for closure, for a direction, and at the direction of the board, we began the process of a strategic plan and saying that we would establish a criteria that was grounded in a direction, where we were going as an organization. So we have, in that time, there have been extraordinary budget cuts in California, but Oakland has been hit harder because we were left with a $40 million structural deficit, which means the expenses were $40 million greater than the revenue. So the amount of work we've had to do has been extraordinary. And this board took responsibility right from the beginning to lead me and guide me around fiscal and academic solvency. This conversation began more than 2 years ago about having too many schools in Oakland, being spread too thin. That's work that we've been in dialogue about for 2 years, but we were absent any kind of guiding criteria. So the community work last year and all the task forces and the conversations about academic and fiscal solvency did set us in motion to have a board strategic plan adopted in June. And again, the board directed me to then bring a criteria and a set of recommendations for both closure and academic and fiscal solvency. So it's in that context and in that work that these recommendations come forward. I'm going to ask two folks to respond to questions that have been pretty consistent from the board and community. I have David Montes de Oca respond to 2 areas, specifically the question of transitions and the work necessary to ensure quality transitions and care for families and students, and also transportation questions have come up. And then Vernon Howe will speak specifically to the financial implications of this proposal and the considerations we've had in making this recommendation. And again, this is in the context of an organization that had been poorly managed and not creating the conditions for every kid to be successful and have the opportunity they need. Having too many underfunded schools is not a good strategy.